All right. Happy Memorial Day, one and all. Welcome to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am John. We are here with Scott. Superstar Scott has come in for a brief sojourn as he makes his way across the world. God bless him. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm recovering from the day of racing. The day of racing. Today
The
is
Holy
Memorial Day.
Grail. The
The
Holy
Holy
Grail.
Grail. Holy Grail. Kyle Larson might try to do all three next year. We don't know. Oh, he didn't complete the 1100. He didn't complete the 1100 laps or 1100 miles. Poor guy. Looked like he missed a shift or downshifted. Did something. Caused the car to kick out. Wrecked. Was that Indy five? Well, let's go to Monte Carlo, I guess. Like, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
off the
let, let's
rails.
start
I'm
out with
off the
F1.
rails. I'm off the rails,
You are
sports
off the
guy.
rails. You are off the rails, and I was going to work it from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
That's it's look. That's
Hey,
how
that
it
was
works in everything except Star Wars. In
right.
Star Wars, we started with the fourth episode. We just didn't know it.
Right.
Okay, all
Hey,
right. Just
hey,
telling you.
let's get to the good, okay?
Okay, let's talk about the bad boys of F1 in Monaco. We had Lando Norris getting the victory. Did you watch what did you think of the race?
I didn't wake up at 4 in the morning to watch the whole race. I apologize. Not that
Okay.
diehard yet. If
Oh,
we get some
thought you
more
were dedicated.
subscribers, when we get
Yes.
more subscribers, I'll get on it. Okay. Jay's making T-shirts. Jay's making T-shirts for the 500 subscriber. You heard it here
Yes.
first.
There you go. We'll
Okay.
make t-shirts.
Um,
Kumbaya.
Yeah, kumbaya. But anyways, I woke up and it was about halfway through. I did watch qualifying, and I was once again shocked how quick McLaren was. I knew Ferrari had something. Hamilton, I really thought he was going to do something. Leclerc, his home track. I thought he thought everybody thought this was his win again, and Norris had the race. But you know what was interesting to me, and Verstappen brought this up. Like, I didn't know there's a mandatory
Yeah.
that you have to race all three tires, hard,
Oh,
medium, and soft, right? Mandatory two pit stops. Verstappen stood out all the way to like the last lap, was
correct.
leading to
Correct.
prove that you cannot pass on this track. It's a beautiful track, it's historic, it's everything, blah, 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 blah. There's room to make it a little more wider, there's room to alter it to make some passing possibly. I mean, I love the race, but he did make a valid point. Like, I was slower than all of them, and they couldn't get around me. The only reason why
Right.
he got P4 was because he had to stop, and then he
Right.
even thought about taking the 30-second penalty, and he'd
Sure.
still would have beat Hamilton. And Hamilton was even saying like, "Well, where am I at? Am I close? Am I close?" And they're like, "No, sorry, bud, you're going to get
Yeah.
fifth." You
Right.
know, I mean,
Right.
it's a beautiful race. I mean, it's amazing. It's every kid's dream driving on a car when you're hauling around the street of like being able to drive that fast down the street. I mean, it's amazing on that point. But as far as passing, you don't see that. I mean, wrecking, yeah, you saw some good wrecks at the beginning, just like the
Yeah,
Indy
the first
500.
turn. The first
Yeah,
turn, yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 exactly. I you
yeah.
know, I mean obviously the race changed because of the mandatory two pit stop. And Verstappen was, yeah, like you said, that guy, and we've seen it earlier, like in China and places like that. He is, even though McLaren is faster, he is just such a wheelman that he can hold off everybody. And you get in a closed course like Monaco, and man, they just can't pass him. I mean, it
No,
was just amazing. They're just looking for one opening and they couldn't find it. But that second pit stop is what ended up being his eventual doom, right?
yeah, I mean they're only passing on the pit. That's what Verstappen's point of view was. Is like all through the racing, there is no passing nowhere. They're keeping their distance. We got to see some passing. F1, come on! You want the $180 million from ESPN for your TV deal? Let's get some passing.
Well, that Brad Pitt movie is coming out, and let's see what
Yeah,
they end up
yeah,
getting. I'm telling you, that looks
yeah.
spectacular.
Hey,
That
hey,
literally looks like the best movie of the
hey! There
summer.
is no doubt they're going to put out a great movie. There's no doubt.
Lando Norris pulled within 3 points of Piastri.
Yep,
Hamilton got a fifth. Leclerc got a second. Ferrari actually kind of showed up here,
yep.
but I wonder, and we have talked about this in previous podcasts. is there going to be a splitting between Leclerc and Hamilton? Because Hamilton doesn't seem to be getting the results that Leclerc is. And I got a feeling you can't have those two alphas in the same house.
Right. I mean, unless they're trying to do a McLaren thing, and saying we got two number ones,
You
but
better
I
start
don't.
getting some wins.
You better get some wins because that's the only way you control those big dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
All right, let's get over to the best race of the day, the Indy 500. Um, so many things to unravel here. We have Alex
Wow.
Palou, three-time Indy champ, finally won the 500 for the first time. He passed Marcus Ericsson with 14 laps left. Marcus didn't have enough to get back to him. Other highlights: Kyle Larson went out on lap 92, 27th place, and we'll talk about Joseph Newgarden. But give me your overall evaluation of what the race was.
The race was good. But what's amazing to me is the talk about these are the greatest drivers in the world. Every F1 says
Every
it.
series
Indy,
says that. Every series says that.
I mean, they're in their own dynamic. Racing their own car. But why are we having so many mistakes and blaming that the track is the track is cold, the tires are cold, and they don't have no gription? We saw before the race even started, the number three car, the Pennzoil car, wreck while trying to warm up his tires and
Right.
just crash. We see Dixon crash. That hurt. That was one of my picks. I had
Yeah.
him and instantly out. We saw in pit road these guys coming down with hot, sticky tires and supposedly blowing through their pit stalls because of cold weather.
Right.
I mean, are they that great? Is the track that bad? If you're great, shouldn't you be able to race on whatever track you're riding on? You know, it, the end of at the middle of the race, it was great passing and everything. And then towards the end, it was like, let's just get in line. And Palou he played it great. He got Ericsson not paying attention coming out of the pits after
Right.
his
Absolutely.
fifth lap out, I guess, and then passed him. You know, Ericsson, if he would have just kept holding it out, I think he would have kept Palou.
I
I don't know if he would have been able to get around him.
I think
It was smart when you attack.
I want to literally lambaste the indie announcers because I thought for the most part they were pretty good, but I think they missed the most brilliant move, and nobody even talked about it afterwards, is those two, it was Ericsson and Palou, and everybody was thinking Palou doesn't have enough gas. He doesn't have
Yep.
enough gas. And he obviously did, and they didn't think he would expend the extra gas to pass him when he did. And
Right.
then once he got there, he was like, yeah, I don't care if what kind of air I have, I'm going to get there. And then Ganassi came on the radio, I think with 6 laps left, and said, gas doesn't matter. They all knew it.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing, and I think they baited and switched Ericsson into thinking, okay, he's not going to pass with 15 laps to go, or
Right.
14 actually. And once he did, they just couldn't get back to his back bumper.
But I think after they passed Ericsson, there was two lap cars that he was able to sniff the draft off and save
You
that little
know,
bit of
you know,
gas.
I got a
Nobody
question about
knows.
that.
Nobody
I got a
knows, man.
question of,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. But how did those 2 lap cars keep I I do not I have never seen 2 lap cars for 15 laps stay ahead of the fastest car in the race. I mean, how did that work?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, you don't know what these Indy guys or the F1 guys are dialing back their cars. They have different settings on their mapping that no matter how hard you're pushing down on the gas, you're only allowed to put so much fuel in. So they're holding that car back like that. Until Ericsson dials it up and goes for the pass, there's no that pass doesn't happen. And then Luke McCooks,
Polo,
whatever his name,
Polo.
huh? No, McCooks. He
Oh,
was in third P3.
yeah,
He was on the same strategy and he just
McCoolus,
can't.
McCoolus.
McCoolus. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Mhm.
Um, he was on the same strategy as Palou, and
Yeah,
he didn't make that same drastic dial up and pass Ericsson.
yeah,
I really think they don't. I did. I think they were all trying to conserve gas, and then by the time it was like, okay, let's go. And what do you mean it's one to go? What do you mean there's a yellow flag coming out on the back of the count? Turning on turn four. The
right.
race is done. Lock it up, bud.
Well, I mean, we have seen in previous indies that there has been a lot of great passing in the last five
Yeah.
laps,
Yeah.
and we, for some reason, they were all in line, and I got to tell you, I was shocked that Palou couldn't pass the two slower car, or well, the two almost lap cars ahead of him. I mean, you would
But
think in 15 laps they would have passed him, but no, it just didn't come to fruition.
yeah, but if he knows Ericsson's not going to pass him, why don't you just stay behind the cars as he keeps saving the
Yeah,
fuel?
but you
He's
don't
saving
know. It's
fuel.
not like he
Well,
gave him
he
a
does.
note, Scott.
He okay. He does know because if Ericsson does try to push up and go for the pass, he knows he has to start building up, or he's figuring I'll have 4 laps to dial up and pass him. Until the guy in the second place actually pushes it, it doesn't happen. I don't
Right.
think Ericsson had the car to pass him though. Also,
No, he didn't.
obviously,
He didn't.
yeah.
He didn't.
So
And
they're
Blue obviously did a
yeah.
brilliant move to pass him with 14 laps to go.
Yeah, and Ericsson's like, I'll take the P2 winnings. That's all, I'll be forgotten about, but I'll take the
I'll
winnings.
tell you what, Erickson's had a pretty impressive run the last 4 years at Indy. He's won,
Yeah.
and you know that guy, boy, I didn't realize how impressive his resume was there. But sorry, enjoy second. Good luck
Sorry.
next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he's
Um,
hurting for money.
yeah, it's not really about the money, but it is,
Yeah. It's all about the money, the money,
well,
the
it's the
money.
sponsorship too. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
where I
We're
thought it
still
was going to
looking.
go, yeah, where I thought it was going to go sideways is, and we talked about this on Friday. I didn't think Joseph Newgarden shouldn't have been in the race. Okay, that
Uh
I
huh.
don't think, I didn't think so. And then all of a sudden we're watching the race, and he starts at 33rd and 32nd, excuse me, and he makes his way up to seventh at the halfway point. And I was thinking to myself, I even texted you. I was like, this guy is going to win this race, and literally all the credibility for Indy is going to go out the window.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yep. Did I told you they were going to get a little note saying you're going to wreck on this lap. You're going to do this on this lap.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You know what kept him from winning? His team, because Penske and everybody said, we're going to throw out the two dumbest mechanics. That was you and I out there trying to figure out what was going on with the gas situation and tear shit apart and go, I don't know, but my dad has a giant box of tools that I can fix this car. Just give me a
What's a
couple
box
minutes.
wrench? What's a box
Yeah.
wrench?
Yeah. you know, you know, that yeah, I think he got all the way up to like fourth at one point. He was ahead of schedule that they kept on talking about. The guy was an
Right.
animal. The car was better. The pit stops were great. You
Yeah.
know, he was smoking everybody. He picked people up in the pit stops, and then they said, "Hey, let's get Tweedledee and Tweedledum out there to try to fix the car. That there's nothing wrong with it." And
Yeah.
you know, they couldn't let him win. That was the smartest thing Indy ever did. Penske did.
Yeah. I think it would have ruined the series. I mean,
Yeah.
we are talking about a race where I believe one of his competitors changed out the braking system within 3 laps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
how
I
you
don't know
doing?
why. I don't know why you're not your fuel sensor's going bad. What do you mean? There's nothing that says in here that's wrong. My car's
Yeah.
still hauling balls. Yeah, it's going too fast. Let's stop you for a while.
And thank goodness the Rossi pit, where literally his car was engulfed in flames. Everybody was okay. It was safe. The gas guy, I guess, had flames all over him. He was
Yeah.
okay. He was on the back of the truck. That's what makes motorsports so exciting, right? Is
Yeah.
that unknown combustibility and just the crash, right? We didn't
Yeah.
really see a lot of crashes, but it was I thought it was a pretty exciting race.
Yeah, I thought the fuel hose that they connected to the car actually had an actuator that if it did catch on fire, that it's supposed to shoot out the
Right.
fire. But
Cut.
apparently it rolled over too much and it kept on bleeding out, and that's what caused the fire. And then he was on fire himself, and
Right.
I think the fuel man was on fire. They put it out, thank God. Racing kept going. There was no caution for that.
No, no.
Yeah, but
It's in the
apparently he
pit.
was. Yeah, and then there was the wreck shortly after that. There was a lot of wrecks in the pit, a lot of action that shouldn't have happened in the pit. But I mean, that's
I said to myself, that reminds me of Scott in the sports book. He is on fire. Okay?
woo.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, okay?
Hey, hey, I didn't get Palou. I didn't get Palou.
You didn't, but we're going to go into where Scott starts his retirement fund. Let's get to the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
Scott called it on Friday. He really, really liked Ross Chastain, 40-1. Ross tracked William Byron, passed him with 6 laps to go. He wrecked the car in Saturday practice. He was on a backup car. Man, everything clicked for Ross Chastain this week, Scott.
The watermelon guy came through. Hey, family's a watermelon family. They own a
Okay.
watermelon farm in Florida. He said the
Okay.
watermelons are in perfect season right now. He
Oh, good.
broke it and then he ate it off the asphalt with all that hot rubber. You know, hey,
Wow.
his
Yeah.
boys were working till 2:30 in the morning after he wrecked his car, and then they kept work. And then they went back to probably did a little blow, probably did a little, a little smacky smacky,
Got
and
to.
they got back there at 5:30 in the morning, got back to work on it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
while Kyle Larson was racing at the Indy 500, they were working on the car. They
Sure.
got it ready, and he started 40th and went all the way to P1. He was even down a lap and got the lucky dog, and
Wow.
made the use of it. That 600 race is such a long race, and a long shot can hit it. It's amazing. You know, um, it's finally nice to see somebody else besides Hendrick and Penske and
Amen.
Joe
Amen.
Gibbs racing. Always winning. It's so nice to actually see. I keep bringing it up. These other markers want to try to get in 2311. Trackhouse.
Right.
The there's all these other teams that are trying to break it in, and now we got another team that's in there
In
for
the
for,
chase.
for yeah, in the chase. He's in it.
I mean, the big three monopolize, I'd say 75% of the wins, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's nice to see. And I will say, I'm going to talk about some winners and some losers from the race. Kozlowski finally got a top 10. I
Yep.
keep rooting for that team, and I have been the first guy to say that they're just living in that Jimmy Johnson post championship era where they just got snake bit every week. This week, they finally found some success.
Yep.
Michael McDowell got a seventh,
Yep.
which was nice. I always like to see those other teams. You have any winners from the race, Scott?
I like Kozlowski because of 1100. Let's give some credit to Hocevar. Like,
Yeah.
that kid was riding on the edge. He's got to get a win this year. That Spire Motorsport team is looking really good. That's what McDowell
Yes.
races with.
Correct.
Um, He was riding in his zone. He was fast and he was learning. 22 years old. This kid's 22 years old. Watch out, Bowman. If Bowman loses his ride, he's going to lose it to Hocevar. But, anyways, I digress because I go off the rails on the sports podcast
You
here.
do. You do. That's why
Uh,
you're the best.
yeah,
Continue.
like and subscribe. But
Yes.
that guy was there until his engine blew up and that thing grenaded. Boom.
Yeah.
There were some good wrecks racing throughout the pack. It was great. A lot of comers and goers. But I think Hocevar was going to put on a show towards the end. I really do. Denny Hamlin was there until his fuel guy,
Yep.
couldn't find the hole.
Yep.
Yeah, he had issues. I mean,
No,
I
no, no
don't care
jokes,
for Denny
please. No
Hamlin, but
jokes, please. Yes.
what? It's
I'm
true.
just saying.
His
I'm just
fuel was
saying.
leaking everywhere. It's just
Okay.
saying.
All right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. I know we got the blue hat on today.
Yep.
We gotta
Got
be
the
a
blue
little. We
pat.
gotta be a little. We gotta always have that blue hat on. Uh,
Yeah.
we need some more subscribers at this podcast. Good
I
J new
agree.
hat.
Yes. We're working on it, buddy. We're working on it. Okay. The losers from the race. Kyle Larson didn't finish.
Yep.
Bubba Wallace.
Blaney.
Bubba Wallace was 35th. That is his third straight race of 33rd or worse, which
Oh,
he's dropped from 7th to 12th in the points. Um, yeah, I thought Bubba Wallace was actually going to be a threat to get into the chase, but it doesn't look good for him right now.
he's a squeaker, dude. He squeaks in every time. Watch him for Talladega. Watch him for Martinsville. That will be where he's going to probably win at. But he's going to be in the mix for the 16th spot. We'll see who the points are. 15
Right.
and 16 is going to be by points, I believe. There's too many repeat winners this year,
Yeah.
and too many. I mean there's very little to me. I mean, look at Bell. What does he have? 3 wins, 4 wins?
Yeah, I'd
Kyle
say
Larson, three
I'd say
wins.
four. I
Yeah,
think he has four because he had three in a row, right? And then he just
yeah,
won. He just won not too, in the last month.
yeah,
It
yeah,
escapes me at the moment. Thank you.
yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
good.
We
I'm
don't.
doing some good
The,
research here, kid.
the producer's not in Jay's ear right now to give him the facts. We don't got the Amazon Prime. We don't got Amazon Prime sponsorship or
Oh,
money like Dale Jr.
exactly.
First night race on first race for Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
It 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 would wonder how many people in your circle, if you were to ask, do you have Amazon, and how many people would say no, because Amazon is such a monster, and now they're going after TV and live sports. Well, not
sure.
now, but
Well, so's
they're.
Netflix. So's Netflix, right? I
But
mean,
I don't think Netflix has a live thing yet. YouTube does.
well, I
I don't.
mean, yeah, not Netflix does. I mean, they had the Jake Paul and Tyson fight. I mean, I
Oh
know there
yeah,
was a
you're
buffering
right.
issue. They did have
Yeah,
a
you're right.
buffering issue, and
Yeah, you
and
did. Yeah,
and
they
and
did.
they did get, I believe, and hey, if I'm incorrect, leave it in the comments. I think
Yeah.
they had one NFL game. I want to
Mm.
say they had one on Christmas. I think.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
agree. I mean, the world is moving to
Yeah.
these subscription services.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of subscriptions, we need some people to like and subscribe here.
I
The
like
sports
it.
podcast. What are we, off the rails sports podcast? Is that who
We
we
are
are?
off the rails sports podcast. I always say off the rails, and that's incorrect. Scott
Yeah, I
corrected
know.
me. Um, there was one interesting thing that came out of Indy, and they were talking about McCoolus. He obviously had a very strong show, and they dropped it one time in the race. Thanks for only bringing it up once in 3 hours. That he is a candidate to replace Will Power at Penske. And man, when I saw
Oh,
the end of that race, I was like, yep, I can see it. Willpower, sorry,
wow.
you've had your day in the sun, but you know what?
Yeah.
We're getting it's like F1. We're only going to get the youngest and the brightest.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
That's true. And then they look at their girlfriend and their wife and say, yes, that's the
yeah,
guy we need.
yeah. That's the guy we need.
Yep.
Well, I am glad that a Penske guy didn't win on either front. I was
Oh, they
kind
didn't
of
even show up in NASCAR either. They're
no,
way
they
back.
didn't. They were way
I,
back.
I think they had your Subaru out on the track this weekend for Joey Logano. Jiminy
They did.
Christmas, like.
The Subaru when the engine broke. All right, you got any more thoughts on the greatest day in racing for the year?
I'm having a day of recovery. It's a day
Yes.
of
Withdrawals. We call it
yeah,
withdrawals.
withdrawals. Yeah,
Yes.
it is Memorial Day weekend, so in memory of all our fallen veterans.
Yes.
Thank you.
God bless you for all you've done.
Yes. But we
Yes.
are hockey night. Hockey night. Don't forget the beatdown continues. I was going to bring the broom out. Who's
Uh
bringing the broom?
does Florida end it tonight?
Yeah, Florida
Yeah.
ended. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I got a phone call from Carolina asking if I could suit up because they're afraid to play against them tonight. Jiminy Crispies. You're like,
Uh
dude, that
that
is just
yeah,
a beatdown on all levels.
it is. And you know what? I got to
Six to
say,
two last game. Six
yeah,
to two,
6 to
right?
2. Yeah, 6 to 2.
Wow.
It was 6 to
You
2.
get
It
you
was
get
2-1 in the
two
second
behind
period.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get two behind Bob and you think you're doing great and you look over. What do you mean we lost by four?
Yes. Yeah, I literally they just come in waves at you. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
Oklahoma City in the NBA. I mean, I know they got crushed by Minnesota, but it was just one game. But I mean, you look at the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth guys, and man, they're just monsters, man. They're just
Yeah.
relentless. Uh,
Yeah.
does it does Edmonton have a chance against Florida in the finals?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, they got
I
the talent.
Yeah, they got the talent, and I think they sing the repertoire and they sing the speed and everything, and I think they've learned a lot of stuff. It's going to be a 7 game series, So
I you know, I think that series is going to go 6 games either
okay,
way. And
okay,
I'm going to say this. I think Florida should justifiably be the favorite, but I always like the guy who lost the year before because they got more of a
yep,
chip on their shoulder. And I
yep,
think they learned something in those last 4 games. If you remember, Florida was up 3-0.
yeah,
And you and I actually had Florida to win in 5 and 6 games, and we
Yep.
were like, "Oh my God, please don't sweep, please don't sweep."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then
And then we
next thing
thought,
we're like, "Wow, they barely won
yeah,
Game 7."
yeah, we're locking down tonight. What do you mean they're going to game seven?
Yeah, right, right, yeah,
If it goes six, I would go. I would really lean heavily to Edmonton. If it goes seven, I'm leaning slightly to Florida.
yeah. It should be interesting. I'm going to ask you a question, and obviously, I'm asking you something I don't know. Who has home ice?
Ooh, that's gonna be a great question. I want to say it's Florida.
Well, you got a
I that
50-50 shot. I
well,
don't
I
know.
think they finished. Well, I don't know. That's a great question. I think they both finished third or fourth in their league.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
yeah,
I want to say Florida has more wins though. That's what I'm leaning toward.
maybe. I mean, but Florida didn't even have home ice against Toronto.
Yeah, well, either is Edmonton. Edmonton has
Right,
not had no home ice out this whole
right,
season. They
right.
were,
They lost to the Kings. I think they were third in the
yeah,
Pacific.
yeah.
Right?
And then they went. Then they went and played the Knights at their. Yeah, they've been playing on the road the whole time.
Yeah.
Both
Go.
teams. That's what we covered this in the other episode about how we picked the lower seeded teams in all these, and we're looking at the upper seeded teams going, yeah, they're not going to win. Like, how does that work? It's like
Yeah.
these guys dominate through the regular season, and then you got postseason. You got your boy Marchand over there just destroying everybody. The rat. I can't
Yeah.
believe Boston got rid of him. Like, I mean, what's going on
Well, I
over
mean,
there?
I get
What's
it.
going
I get
on?
it. He
What's,
wanted, our team was terrible. We're starting a rebuild again. And you know, let the guy you know what? They want it's that bullshit where they want to get a draft pick because the guy's going to leave it as a free agent, even though we know nobody leaves as a free agent. We want to play
yeah,
that game. And it's the same stupid thing that Colorado and Carolina did about Rantanen.
yeah,
That is a super talented guy, and you said, well, I don't know if we can re-sign him. And he probably was the one guy in the NHL that says, I'm actually going to see what the offers are out there.
yeah.
I'm not gonna just take your low ball offer or
He
whatever he
he
perceived it.
He walks with an ego and he backs his ego.
He
That's what that
does,
is. You know what I
you
mean?
know?
And,
Yeah,
and
everybody likes it.
yeah, and there's a home in there. There's a house, and he's not looking for a home. He's looking for a house. That's what it
Amen.
is. You know what I
Amen.
mean?
At the end of the day, there's this BS narrative that goes on you got to be a team player. Well, you know what? You got to win too.
Yeah,
And like Oral Hershiser said, he goes, leadership is a 3-run homer. And he was
yep,
exactly right. You can be the best team guy in the world, whatever. If you're not putting up numbers, you're not putting up stats, nobody
yep.
cares.
Nobody
Sorry, you're
cares.
just another
Nobody
guy.
cares.
See you
Yeah,
on the waiver wire.
yeah. I think Boston got all their things that they were get what they gave up for the trade for Marchand. Though there's like three check marks to get all the trades from Florida, and they got them all.
Well,
So
yeah, right, because they're in the finals.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
they
So
should have got an extra pick if he was the MVP of the Stanley Cup.
hey, that could happen.
It could.
The third line, fourth line guy could get it because that guy is bringing some stuff. But
He is
Kachuk,
bringing some stuff.
him and
Yeah.
Kachuk, man, woo wee! Talk about some pit bulls.
I got to tell you, Reinhardt is been excellent. I would say honestly, it's Marchand and Reinhardt, and Kachuk is actually the third guy. But you could argue about the different value, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Kachuk is
yeah,
is centering the first line, so that is what it
yeah.
is. You know,
You know what's a real trip to me though? How the heck is pro bowling still on the air? And they got all these sponsors. I see
Scott,
that on TV still. I'm like, dude, I know there's like a giant thing, and
Scott,
it's insane that I'm watching a commercial about pro bowling. And if Jay knows
Scott,
anything about pro bowling,
Scott,
I mean, that's gonna be
Scott,
really off the rails sports
Scott,
podcasting.
Scott. I watch pro bowling more than I want to admit. Randy Peterson
Oh
is the
my god.
commentator, and Jason Belmonte is one of my favorite bowlers. There's Kyle, the guy with the afro.
That's the guy.
I gotta tell you, I am embarrassed to admit this. I should have just said I don't know nothing about it. Obviously, it shows you the despair that my social life is in. Oh my gosh, right? that I know what's going on. I will literally be flicking through and I'll go, okay, NHL, okay, I watched that, NBA, and then I'll say, oh, pro bowling. And there's always some finals. And I'm like, oh, let's see what's going on. Oh,
Yeah,
Jason Belmonte. Wow, great. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I know their names. How sad is this whole thing getting? I'm pathetic.
I saw the commercial and it had a bracket on it, and I'm
Yeah,
like, I gotta bring this up.
it's
I
the
was not
bracket of
expecting
five.
you to
It's
do
the
this.
bracket of
Oh my god!
five. Yeah, five plays four, four plays three. You know, they just work their way up the ladder. Oh, it's insane. And this is how disgustingly sick I am. When they're doing it, they're in the third flame and the guy, I don't really even I know it, but I don't really want to explain it. The guy would be like, he's up 8 pins, and I'll be like, wow, he has a 265 game on. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do I already know this? This is stupid. This is so moronic. Oh my
Oh
God.
my
And
god,
then and then
Jay!
I'm like, God, the oil pattern is a lot heavier on the right lane than the left lane. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. At that point, I go, you know what? Thank God I got a political podcast because literally I got no goddamn life. Bloody hell, man. What am I doing? Oh, I can't believe you brought that up. You are the best, Scott. God bless you.
I had no clue. I had no clue. I just saw a commercial. I thought I'd bring it up because I'm like,
I
here's a
have
great
never,
segue.
that is like my scarlet letter. I've never admitted that to Scott until right now. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so shamed here. I mean, really, what's next for me? Lacrosse? Field hockey? I mean, come
Hey,
on.
hey, that's big money, dude. That's big money.
We're not even talking about Caitlin Clark, and we're talking about me watching bowling. Priorities, Jay,
Hey,
priorities.
hey, we're trying to get all the viewers we can get.
Yeah,
Come
we
on
are.
now.
Yeah, we might have to embrace the WNBA, Scott. All right, everybody. That's it for Off the Rail Sports Podcast. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Tell me what a moron I am for in the comment section for watching bowling. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I literally am red. God dang, Scott, you are the best. All right. Leave some comments and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails.
Sports podcast.